They tried singing, they tried rallies, and now they're trying racism. The latest unhinged Democrat media attack on Doge has them questioning the citizenship of America's most prominent African American.
Which country is he loyalty to? South Africa? Canada? Or the United States?
I don't want to rely upon the benevolence of an Elon Musk who grew up in apartheid South Africa.
Go back to South Africa. He's not a citizen. He came here illegally.
Whose American citizenship is his third choice of citizenship.
A pro-apartheid South Africa billionaire.
He was pro-apartheid, as I understand it. This foreign agent,
Right.
an enemy of the United States. Now I'm getting some flack because I said that Musk was pro-apartheid. I don't really know for sure if he was.
Sue the heck out of her. So they can whine all they want about Doge, but Musk is multiplying. President Trump signing an EO directing all federal agencies to have a representative of Doge to oversee all spending. And 47 is once again offering his seal of approval.
We are having great success in slimming down our government. It's been really very successful, and some took payouts and buyouts, and others took other things, and some people we're finding out don't even exist. We're finding that we have a lot of people that don't exist, that people thought that did.
Jesse, this is kind of amazing, not surprising, but amazing. You know, God forbid you say go back to Africa, right? That's bad. That's bad. But you can
say go back to Africa.
No, you can't. You shouldn't
say it.
You shouldn't say it.
I would never say it.
Neither would I.
They keep moving the goalposts. I need to know what's racist and what not racist.
You can say go back to South Africa. Just one adjective.
So I guess the Democrats' immigration policy is deport Elon Musk and keep MS-13. Liberals look like 16-year-old girls here. They love Musk because of his cars, but now they hate him because of who he hangs out with. Jessica, I have a feeling that when we do colonize Mars, Musk is not planting a South African flag, okay? Everybody knows that. Questioning Elon's loyalty to this country after not questioning the thousands of unvetted Chinese, Muslims, Venezuelans who they let into the country is insane. They have no message. First, Musk was an anti-Semitic gangster. Then he was co-president for a long time. Then he's racist, and now he has dual loyalties. The Democrats used to have this awesome media machine where they could just destroy you with smears and lies. And that's broken. And it's not working anymore. So why don't they just say, you know what, his policies are bad, this is not going to be good for the American people, or maybe they can join the cause in getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. It's silly because this dual loyalty thing's ridiculous since you guys are constantly America last. You're always sending billions of dollars to state sponsors of terror. You're working with the cartels to invade the country. Didn't the other day you guys were cheering for America to lose to Mexico and Canada? I believe that was Crockett, not to be confused with Davey.
Or Sonny's partner on Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Or is it Sonny Crockett? I can't remember, Dana. I'm too young for that show.
I know.
You know, what is interesting, too, is how they didn't feel this way about George Soros, who spent billions and billions to undermine American strength. But if you criticize George Soros, you were playing into the tropes of anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Not only that, but do you remember that Ilhan Omar caused a multi-week kerfuffle, including a vote for being censored in the House because she suggested that Jewish people in America have dual loyalties. Remember that? Like, she almost got censored, even by Nancy Pelosi. That was a huge deal. Now they're doing the same. Also, I think that President Trump is blessed with the dumbest opposition. Right? They cannot figure out get their footing, and part of it is what Jesse said, is that their media operation has collapsed. But the other thing is, Elon Musk was bullied terribly. He was abused terribly. And he was able to get himself out of that. And guess what? This is the other thing that kills me. He could live anywhere in the world, and he chose us. He chose America, and this is where he has his companies. This is where the innovation is coming from. And he single-handedly is going to solve rural broadband. Because for years, going back for years, going to figure out how are we going to connect rural America to the internet. And the Biden administration had all this money pledged for it, spend a bunch, never even dropped a cable. Now Starlink is going to be able to solve that problem for a much less price. So I think that Trump has terrible opposition. I do feel what Jesse said. Argue with him on the merits, but if you look at what he has accomplished and overcome in his life, any of them would be proud of that person if his name wasn't Elon Musk.
Yeah. Rural broadband.
Yeah, it's a big issue.
Is that like the Dixie Chicks?
Very good.
Hey,
I like it.
Jessica, I think you might agree with me on this, is that it's another example of how identity politics, if you filter everything through it, you end up being a tribalist, just like the people you condemn. So it's like they just see Musk as South African, go back to South Africa.
I'm not even sure they really do, because this would have come up a lot earlier. I feel like it's a moment of grasping at straws to fill the TV time, and it would be much easier to stick to the merits of the criticisms. I think these are exactly the kinds of immigrants that we can all agree that we want to have here to come and build companies, et cetera. But you can draw the line at having an unelected billionaire spent, $290 million on the election, playing a pretty significant role in the government. And you look at what Doge has done. A lot of it is the smoke and mirrors that he says that he's cutting, that he's not actually. But there are thousands of Americans who have lost their jobs, some of them by mistake, that he then has to run and try to give them their jobs back. You can talk about the support that he's yanking from veterans, everything from staffing at VAs, crisis hotlines. You can talk about people who protect our parks. You can talk about people who run these clinical trials. I mean, we are going to be kneecapped in terms of medical innovation.
Wait,
because of the
you just said he doesn't cut. You just start off. He's not. It's all smoke and mirrors. He's not cutting anything. And then you say, "Oh, he's cutting all these jobs." It's so interesting. You didn't really care about all the people who lost their jobs during COVID, did you, Jessica?
Yeah, I did. I think I did.
Roll the tape of her not caring.
No, it's not. It doesn't work that well with me, because I do have moments of sanity, and I am being consistent here in all of this. But the American people understand that whether they agree with the larger premise of getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, that isn't what's happening here. They know what the 1990s looked like. They know what happened when we actually worked with Congress over the course of. Can you turn? Oh, Charlemagne.
That just happened.
Yeah, it did just happen. What are you looking at?
no,
Charlemagne? She's watching The Breakfast Club. Anyway, the 1990s is how you do it, not what Elon Musk is doing.
Well, what's interesting is that, Judge, you hear from so many people who don't know how businesses work that you have to make big cuts, and this happens in every company.
Well, why didn't they say anything about the 400,000 people who lost their jobs when Bill Clinton was president? Yeah. Why didn't they complain?
Yeah,
that was in the 90s. And why?
But they actually went through agency by agency.
Oh,
and
they did it better. I'm sorry, my turn. They did it better back then. Here's the thing. You've got a congresswoman, I've never heard of her before, Marcy Kaptur. This is a woman who is questioning Elon Musk, a legal immigrant who followed the rules, but she supported 11 million illegals not following the rules, disregarding the laws, and coming into the country so we can educate them, medicate them, house them, and make sure that they're happy here. All right? I don't know how this woman belongs in Congress. And this whole idea, with Sonny Hostin, he's from South Africa. What's he supposed to do? Come out of his mother's womb and say, "Ma, I don't like it here. We got to leave South Africa." I mean, this is so stupid. It really is. And in the end, the American people, you talk about the American people, they absolutely support what Donald Trump is doing through Elon Musk. 70% of them say he's following through on his promise.
Poll
okay,
that everyone
and George
is citing.
Soros.
But it's a real poll. It's not AstroTurf like those town halls.
That's George Soros.
No, don't boom about those quote-unquote Watch the interview with Mike Johnson last night with Caitlin Collins about these AstroTurf.
Caitlin Collins, now there's a good one.
Is this
Let
a
me
joke
finish my thought.
of Daily
Now,
Caller
did
fame?
you notice that the liberals are so clueless that you've got the protesters and the Congress people in unison saying the same thing? I mean, they just must meet at the end of a block somewhere in somebody's house and say, we all have to say the same thing, and George will give us money, and we can all protest, and then we'll make sure that Donald Trump never wins again. They are so clueless. It's
He can't win again. It is done now.
They often say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. And that sums up the Democratic Party. After Kamala ran a whole campaign likening her opponent to Hitler and getting absolutely steamrolled. Defeated liberals are once again screaming about an impending fascist coup and a dictatorship under President Trump.
You're not going to like what I'm saying next. We are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup in this country.
If we were being honest, there should be a breaking news banner on CNN and MSNBC all day long. Yes. We are in dictatorship right now.
The things that I'm speaking out about now about, the threat to our democracy, the prices at the grocery store are going up because democracy is being taken away.
And legendary Hollywood director James Cameron is also coming down with a bad case of TDS. And like one of his movies, looks like he's unable to escape the Trumpinator.
I think it's horrific. I think it's horrifying. And, we could talk about this all day long. But, I see a turn away from everything decent. America doesn't stand for anything if it doesn't stand for what it has historically stood for. It becomes a hollow idea. And I think they're hollowing it out as fast as they can for their own benefit.
So, Jessica, we're doing the dictatorship thing again?
I guess so.
How did it work last time?
Not great. I think that you can, not to be a broken record from just 5 minutes ago, I think you can talk about the specifics of what's going on without using the kind of terminology that turned off a lot of people. So the base desperately wants people to go on offense. And I get that. It's something 65 to 70% want people in positions of power to go harder, or I forget the exact term that they used in the survey for it. But I think that you can set the stage by just saying Donald Trump doesn't respect the way the government works. He wants to override Congress. Congress appropriates the money. Donald Trump thinks you do what you want. He doesn't respect the judiciary. They threaten judges who make decisions that they don't agree with. He doesn't believe in a free press. Not only what's going on with the AP, but changing the way the press pool works. And I think
changed the press pool.
Well,
wow.
Go check out what Jackie Heinrich has. Our own Jackie Heinrich.
No, our very own.
I'm sorry, Jackie.
That's not going to work on us. We don't.
Well,
we
think for
ourselves.
Humanity.
I love Jackie, but I disagree with her. There you go.
It is a free country. No, it's not the end of the story. It is just the beginning.
That's my line.
Is it in your notes? Just the beginning? Anyway, I'm done.
Good. All right. Can I go?
Go ahead.
Okay. Article 2 of the Constitution. Yeah. The president has the obligation to ensure that the laws of the land are followed. And when Congress appropriates money or when money is misappropriated, the president in the executive branch has the authority to look at that. So let's not make like he doesn't have the right to do it. And by the way,
why are the
First
saying
Amendment,
he doesn't?
why
Supreme
the
Court
court
just said he
John
could.
Roberts just came down and said, you better watch it, folks. And the local judge who made one of those decisions to issue a TRO just got slapped down. So let's not make this greater than it is. The bottom line is the Democrats are going nowhere, and I love it. They should keep it up. All right? Their message is a message of hate. Everything's about hate. And Pritzker, he shouldn't be talking about food prices. He should be talking about food in his own situation. But when he says the prices at the grocery store are going up because democracy is being taken away, who is he kidding? They couldn't talk about inflation or price. Take a look at him for 4 years. And now he wants to talk about democracy, taking it away. And James Cameron, he's living in New Zealand. Stay there. He's been there for 20 years. He made his money off Americans. If he's so worried about America, why don't you move here?
A lot of this is a process complaint. It's about the press pool. It's about this judge or Congress. Do voters really care that much about process?
No, they don't. And that's another reason why they're not getting any traction and why Doge continues to have the kind of reaction that it does. Look, aside from the polling, and I agree, there's not a ton, but the one-step polling that we have says Americans like it. Look at the ratings. Why do you think we talk about Doge every day?
Yeah.
Because people want to hear about it, they want to know about it, and they are interested in what's going on. The other thing is when the left uses language like we are living under a totalitarian regime, you're like, I think about all the repressed people around the world. Do they get a word? What about, aren't those the people that they're so concerned about with the foreign aid problem? And that's on the merits. Let's talk about that. But when you use language like Hitler, totalitarianism, that we're taking away democracy, and that's causing egg prices to go up, you sound so stupid that it's impossible. It's like, why even argue with them? They're not. It's not even worth arguing with. It doesn't merit our time, except for to make fun of them.
So we just make fun of Jessica now? We don't have to argue with her?
Well, not Jessica, Pritzker.
Oh, Pritzker, got it. Okay.
Do we have that picture of Pritzker again?
Sure. put it up.
You know what? He looks like he ate Chris Christie.
So mean.
No, you haven't seen Chris Christie at all. I'm not saying that Pritzker's a cannibal, but I'm not saying it. You know, it's funny you said we watch it to make fun of it. I think that CNN has created a new media specialty, Jennings porn. It is like porn. It lasts about 3 minutes, and you just keep watching it over and over again. And I feel bad for the bookers at CNN because they have to look at the guests that they feed to the slaughterhouse to Jennings. They look like a model UN, like a collection of high school debaters who have no idea they're on a TV show. Bookers, no, Scott Jennings isn't on. You're safe. Scott Jennings isn't on. And they sit down. It's like when you watch Jennings ask Teray or whatever his name is, this goes to your point. His reason behind his banal assertions, his eyes are like as wide as saucers because nobody asks a follow-up question. So Jessica's right. You got to come armed with specifics because one day someone's going to ask you for why do you think that? James Cameron, why do you think it's been terrifying? What makes you feel that way? You know, how is it terrifying? Why are you like? It's like you got to get beyond these load-bearing phrases of fascism and Hitlerism. It's the best. I mean, I swear, you could probably watch the ratings on CNN. They're like this, and then when Jennings is on, it goes.
God, I love Jennings. Oh man, that's why I don't do podcasts.
Why?
Because I'm terrified of the follow-up question.
Yeah, you know what?
I will just melt down.
Yeah.
You think I've thought about this before?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, who is that other dude on there? That old guy,
The one who
Jarvis.
looks like James Carvin.
Yeah. This guy is a has-been. He's like he was an elevated consultant. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jessica? Do you remember his name? Jeff Jarvis. Yeah. He's like he's just been around pretending to be like an expert. It makes you think that CNN's having a very hard time finding people to go on the show opposite Jennings.
Jennings porn.
I'm sure Gavin Newsom is going to be like, oh, let me at him.
Yeah. Jennings versus Newsom would be good. Would you go on Newsom's show?
Do they have snacks in the green room?
Yes, they do, Greg.
Then I'll be there.
All right, up next, our favorite touchy Italian is back. Some Democrats want Andrew Cuomo to save them.
Power panel in focus now. Let's get into this. Matt Gorman, former campaign advisor to Senator Tim Scott and former communications director for the National Republican Congressional Committee. Fred Hicks is here, Hicks Evaluation Group founder and president. Great to have you both. So I imagine I'm not really going to have to say much here. You guys are going to jump in. Fred, I'll start with you. What do you think of this program?
So here's the thing that we want to keep in mind. The immigration program does need some reforming. There's no doubt about that. But the problem that I have with this is that this gold card is designed to replace a program, the EB-5 program, which was structured to require investment in low and economically depressed communities in order to receive the benefit. This is a 180-degree turn from investing in low and economically depressed communities towards rewarding wealthy businesses and wealthy entities that can afford to bring in or pay a $5 million fee to get in. And this is really in alignment, honestly, with everything that we've seen from this administration so far, which is tilting towards the haves and denying the have-nots.
Matt, your rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, look, Republicans want immigration, but we want it done legally. And I think this is a way that we can do that. Look, this card doesn't just get people here, and obviously it would help with, paying down the debt. That's right. But look at long term. It'll broaden the tax base, increase people in the workforce, and again, help economic areas. Ro Khanna should want this, right? He represents the areas out near Silicon Valley. He understands a lot of this stuff. You need economic growth for all of this. I mean, as we saw with Democrats, they want to let people in for free, let them across the border, and then pay city services to take care of them once they're here. That's unsustainable. We need to come out of a better way, attract the best and brightest from all across the world, and more importantly, get them to stay here, innovate, make things, build businesses. That's what we need to do.
All right, we'll move on. Divided, disjointed, and looking for a leader. Democrats are still struggling since their election loss in November. We should just record my voice and have me say that for some time until they start to figure things out. One congressman has a pretty sobering take.
Just the way that we come across that really turns people off. We lost an election across the board, so by definition, we've fallen out of touch with the majority of Americans. We need to show that we're willing to change, we're willing to listen.
I never hear anybody say, I'm the one, I'm the new leader, I'm going to take it on. Not even the man in the far right corner, Hakeem Jeffries, would say it when he was asked about it. Big questions loom about, well, actually, who is? Or who could emerge as a national leader who speaks for the Democratic Party? Immediately following an interview with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, ESPN's anchor Stephen Smith with this.
What are you going to do? And how are you going to convince us to believe you? You first got to find somebody that's worth believing. And I'm not denigrating Leader Jeffries in any way. But when you think about a national voice for the party, who is that person? It's non-existent right now. You might have talent, but who's going to resonate? You better find somebody. You better find somebody soon.
Ouch, Stephen A. He does not mince words. Jeffries isn't even actually on the list. Take a look at this. The Washington Examiner ranking high-profile Democrats who could rise to the level. Far-left Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC at the top. It includes other Democratic lawmakers, businessman Mark Cuban, Stephen A. Smith, who you just saw, and anti-gun activist David Hogg. Let's go reverse order. Matt.
Yeah. First of all, Seth Moulton, it's great that you think we need to change. Okay, go further. How? I sat next to him on a panel on another network, and he was talking about how, you know, the biological men playing women's sports argument hurt his party. So I asked him on air, okay, so do you change positions? Do you change tone? And he goes, I don't know. And, well, you need an answer for that. You can't just say this thing. You actually have to figure out how to change. And Hakeem Jeffries, this guy has negative charisma. On that same podcast, he was saying, well, it was a bad weekend in terms of the Knicks. Speak like a normal human. Have charisma. And that's the first step. Say you want about AOC. I have a lot of difference whether at least she's interesting to listen to. She speaks like a normal person.
I know, the Knicks did have a tough one. Let's talk football then if we're going to play. So why are the Democrats acting like an overly injured football team with bad coaching? That would be for you, Fred.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like that. You know, I'm gonna take a little personal point of privilege here. They're kind of playing like Southern University as opposed to Grambling there, Harris. You know, just saying that. But no, but that being said.
You'll have to call them and talk. Wow. Okay.
But no, but here's the reality of it. You know, Democrats, we are still struggling at this point in time for a voice because there's a disconnect between the Democratic voting base and the Democratic elected officials. That's undeniable. But what is also undeniable is that there's a big opening right now. Donald Trump's favorability ratings are the lowest. They're lower than any other president not named Donald Trump since 1953. People are not happy with what's happening. And that creates an opening, but we have to have a voice and we have to have a cogent plan. And I don't believe that's really getting into the social issues. That is getting into the economic issues. Because as Matt pointed out, if this is about paying down the debt, then you could do something like get rid of the Trump tax cuts and actually focus on reducing the budget, not just laying off people.
You know, you were talking numbers. I want to pop up some here. A recent Quinnipiac University poll showed congressional Democrats receiving the lowest approval rating ever in that poll, 21%. Republicans got their highest ever, 40%. There's also a major shift from Democrats on the party's future, and we've seen that play out. So you're talking about polling and numbers. Everybody can pick a poll. It's hard to move an entire group of people, and you've got midterms coming up. Last word, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Democrats will have a lot of work to do on this. You have Gavin Newsom getting ready to start a podcast. Like, that's going to be an answer. He needs to rebuild the state from the wildfires. I think people are so obsessed with tactics. As a party, they don't have a strategy. They don't have a strategy to actually move forward. It's all tactics to them. It's the wrong thing.
All right. Gentlemen, great to have you. Good debate. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's dig deeper in this with Megan Hayes, former director of message planning for the Biden White House, and David Avella, the chairman of GOPAC. So the Democratic tactics, some people calling them scare tactics, do appear to be working because listen to what the Utah governor, Joe Lombardo, who's a Republican, by the way, said. Abrupt reduction in federal funding would not only disrupt care for those who rely on Medicaid, but would also destabilize public and private health care providers, leading to workforce reduction, service limitations, and financial strain on already overburdened health care facilities. President Trump says, David, he's not going to cut Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security, but I mean, tell that to Lombardo. He thinks they will.
Well, in my second career or my second life, I want to be a Democrat message operative. It's the easiest job in the world. Take what you said in the 1990s and in the 2000s and this recent election that you just lost And let's just keep saying that. Let's keep repeating what Republicans are going to do when, in fact, we aren't going to do that. And if we don't pass a budget that keeps the tax cuts from a few years ago in place, every American is going to see their taxes go up, which is going to make their health care costs more expensive.
Yeah, I'm sorry I said Utah governor, Nevada governor, next door to each other. But Democrats, Megan, have been swinging at literally every pitch that comes across the plate, regardless of where it fell. Could this be the one issue that they start to get traction on? Because when it comes to Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, we've always known that's the third rail of politics. And if you can get the upper hand on messaging, sometimes you win the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw with the blueprint that they submitted, or, passed the House a couple of days ago, that actually added more money to the deficit because they are actually increasing defense spending. So if they're not going to take a wholesome look at the budget, you can't just cut things that are helpful to the American people. And just in Mike Johnson's district alone, he has 51% of children under 19 on Medicaid. That is substantial in his district alone, and it would be a massive cut. And I think that when you start looking at that and people start seeing that those programs are going to be cut, that is a huge problem. So I think that unless you talk about cuts elsewhere, people are going to assume you are going to cut their Medicaid and their Medicare.
Right, but the assumption might not necessarily be true.
And the assumption is that only Washington can fix a health care system.
Yeah.
And it's not that if we took block grants and gave them to states to be innovative and come up with ways to make the system better, produce better results, that somehow that wouldn't be better for Americans when, in fact, it would be. I mean, the number one place where job creation is going to occur over the next decade is in the healthcare industry. There's going to be a lot of innovation. There's a lot of good stuff. In fact, in the Trump administration just a few weeks ago, FDA just approved new medication that allows you to get away from pain opioids to use other medications to be able to. There's a lot of innovation occurring, and to suggest that only Washington has the answers and everything has to be done here is wrong.
All right, so the Democrats are still including Elon Musk in their messaging. Listen to what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said.
Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is not an engineer. He is a billionaire con man with a lot of money. He does not have this kind of good background.
A lot of people would say he's a brilliant guy who makes things that many people thought were impossible happen. I mean, he's a pretty smart guy for AOC to say he's not. Well, maybe he's not an engineer, but he knows as much as most engineers do at SpaceX. He makes stuff happen.
Sure. He also sued to be called a founder of Tesla. So, I mean, it's not like he's used its money to get some of the things that we have to now call him a founder of, that he wasn't actually an innovator of. So there is that. She's not wrong in some of the things that he has conned people. I just think that, again, we should be looking at this with a scalpel and not a chainsaw. And we wouldn't be making some of these mistakes to Ebola or to the nuclear scientists that were cut. Nobody is arguing that there isn't government waste and bloat that can be, handled. Democrats would never disagree with that. It's the manner in which you do it and the manner in how you go about doing it. We should just be doing this with a lot more precision.
So you're saying he should give the chainsaw back to Argentina's?
I don't know. He needs to go away.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it, both of you. Doge fever comes to Capitol Hill. The Senate's Doge Caucus meeting with Elon Musk today. There they all are. Let's bring in Senate Doge Caucus Chair Joni Ernst. She is also the chairwoman for the Senate Small Business Committee and member of the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, as well as Armed Services. Senator, great to see you. So you met with You met with Elon Musk earlier today. This is what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said about Elon Musk recently. Listen here.
Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is not an engineer. He is a billionaire con man with a lot of money. He does not have this kind of good background.
What would you say to the good Congresswoman?
I would ask what her background is. I think it takes a lot of different talents and abilities to go in. And obviously, Elon Musk, when he went into the role of the Department of Government Efficiency, he brought with him a lot of technical expertise that allows him and his team to go in and work with the agencies. And that's key. They're working with the agencies to query through the system programs where there might be waste. So I would say I'm going to push back on that because, again, here is someone who maybe doesn't have the same talents and abilities to be a congressman or a congresswoman than anybody else. So I don't see where she's going with that. But obviously, Elon Musk has the right skills and ability to ferret out waste in the federal government.
She forgot to mention he's a guy who can catch rocket boosters, too. That's
yes, exactly.
That's
you know, it's who you
skill.
surround yourself. It's who you surround yourself with. Yes.
True. So listen, in terms of waste, fraud, and abuse, you have been looking into a lot of this, including USAID. You put an inquiry with them a number of months ago for information. They said, oh, no. You can't have access to that because it's classified. Well, you finally did get access to it, and it's not classified at all. It's maybe embarrassing more than anything. This is funds that were given to recipients in Ukraine as part of a competitive economy program. Modern women's attire company, 150 grand. Trade mission for a fashion design house, 128,000. A photographer for fashion design publications, more money. A purveyor of contemporary knitwear, a luxury bridal brand. A marketplace for designer artisanal pieces inspired by folk crafts. A vineyard, an artisanal fruit tea company, a custom carpet manufacturer, $2 million, and a confectionery company, which got nearly $700,000. Were you surprised by all of this and the attitude of USAID saying it's classified, we can't give you that information?
John, am I surprised? Absolutely not. My battle with USAID actually began a number of years ago when you rightfully pointed out they were telling me that this information is classified. You can't see it. They actually threatened my staff and I with the Economic Espionage Act, basically saying we can't allow you to see this because we might say that you're a spy then if any of that information is disclosed. But what it was embarrassing information that they didn't want to be seen anywhere else. So yes, this has been going on for over 3 years now, and I am so grateful that I've been able to take all of the information that I've compiled through my Squeal Awards and my Squeal work over the past 10 years and provide that to the Department of Government Efficiency and Elon Musk. So we are providing them a blueprint to find trillions of dollars of savings in the federal government. We are going to cut that waste. We are going to protect our taxpayers, and we are going to make sure that we make a more efficient federal government. That's what we're trying to do. And I was so glad that Elon Musk met with us today to help all of our senators in the Doge Caucus understand how we can better partner with these initiatives and make some of these executive orders for President Trump permanent.
All right. Well, we will keep watching this, of course. It is the topic. Is the topic of the year, I think, in Washington so far.
Exactly.
But there's other things that are coming up that are going to compete for the limelight. Senator, good to talk to you. Thanks so much.